Regimen, the Lions of Bukit Chandu is a cooperative tabletop game for 2 to 4 players and plays out for around 20 minutes. In Regimen, players take on roles of Malay Regiment soldiers defending Point 226, which is Bukit Chandu, against Imperial Army forces. On their turn, players work together to battle the advancing Imperial Army soldiers. Battles won earn players respect tokens. Once a player earns 5 respect tokens, the game is over and the players are victorious. Let's start by setting up the battlefield. These tokens are the regiment soldiers, Imperial soldiers, Imperial tanks, and Imperial warplanes. You can then place the tokens on the trackboard. Next, we have the map. You may arrange the map however you like. Just make sure that the compass tile goes in the middle, and each side of the map should have one tunnel tile. These are sandbags, which act as obstructions for the Japanese soldiers that are trying to get into Bukit Chandu. Place 4 sandbags surrounding the compass and another 4 on the tiles here. The remaining Imperial soldiers are placed on the tiles flanking the tunnels. These starting Imperial soldiers can be returned to the trackboard when they are defeated. There are 2 decks of cards, the event deck and the class deck. The event cards show how Japanese soldiers, tanks, warplanes start attacking. So shuffle the deck and place them on a table that's in easy reach to all players. There are 5 classes that players can be assigned: the fireman, the medic, the strategist, the heavy, and the scout. So each player draws a role from the role deck and takes the respective hero standees of their choice. For example, I've drawn the heavy. So I take the heavy standee and place it on any empty tunnel location of the map. To start off, each player gets 2 respect tokens and 1 resource token of their choice. For the resource token, you can choose either the medkit, which you can use to heal your comrades, or an ammo box, which you can later use to attack your enemy again. On to the gameplay. Every soldier must play his turn every round. There are 2 phases per turn. Phase 1 is the enemy deployment phase. The first thing you do during your turn is to draw 1 event card for every respect token you have. So for example, if you have 2 respect tokens, you draw 2 event cards. The first drawn card is the deployment. With every deployment card drawn, 2 enemies of the specific unit type are taken from the end of the trackboard and placed on a map. Their location is determined by the direction on the card. The compass in the center of the map determines the direction of the north, south, east, and west of the board. The first card I drew is a tank, saying they came from the west. So take 2 tanks and place them on the west side of the board. All cards except for the last card are deployment cards. Then you can discard the cards once they've been resolved. Once you're done with the deployment, draw your last card. This is the deployment card, which determines which direction the enemy units in that region will move in. This is the North region, the South region, the East region, and the West region. So if a North soldier is revealed, all units in the North move 1 location closer to the South. You can ignore the unit type here. Whenever you uncover the number 1 on the trackboard, flip over the number of tiles on the section header. You can only flip the empty tiles, so these tiles are now overwhelmed. All players except for the firemen cannot enter the overwhelmed. If the number 1 is uncovered in the last chance section, the game ends. Warplanes have special movements. they can only move in a straight line. That is why each warplane has an arrow showing the direction which it is traveling towards. They cannot enter Bukit Chandu. If a warplane tries to move outside the map, move them to a location on the other end. If one or more Imperial units try to enter a location tile that has a sandbag, you have to remove it. The units do not move into the location tile. If any of the enemy units enters Bukit Chandu, you have to remove that many regiment soldiers from the trackboard. You then return the enemy unit to the tunnel tile in the region that they came from. Now we move on to phase 2, which is the action phase. At the beginning of this phase, each player gets 1 action point each for each respect token he has. I have 2 respect tokens, so I get 2 action points. Each action can be spent to either move or attack. The scout can move to a diagonal location. Also, if any player is on a tunnel location, he can move to another tunnel location, unless the tile is overwhelmed, in which case he can't enter. If you want to use your action points to attack, you can do so when your enemies are in the same location as you. Soldiers have a defense value of 1, tanks have a defense value of 2, and warplanes have a defense value of 3. Players always attack first. Only if there are warplanes in the current location do the units attack first. So let's say you want to attack this soldier. Roll the dice and the lower value will be your attack value. If you want to increase your attack value, you can give up one of your ammo boxes to re-roll the die with the lower value. The heavy can use an ammo box to roll the die twice. If there are any players with you in that location, your attack value increases by 1 strength. If your attack value matches or exceeds an enemy's defense value, the enemy is defeated. More enemies can be defeated if there is enough attack value left. You can keep any enemy that you've defeated. If there are any other players on that location, you always keep the first enemy unit for yourself. You can then distribute the other destroyed Imperial units to the other players, or keep them all for yourself. When you have defeated 4 soldiers, or 2 tanks, or 1 warplane, you can collect a respect token and return them to the trackboard. If you have battled and cleared the space, you are rewarded with either an ammo box or a med kit. When you have no more action points, your turn has ended. If there are any Imperial units left over, there will be an enemy attack. If there are none, your turn continues. You roll the dice again, and the lower value is used as the enemy's attack value. If the enemy's attack value is 2 or more, the player is injured and his turn ends. When injured, players still play phase 1, which is the enemy deployment phase, but skip the attack phase. If there are any warplanes on the location, the enemy attacks first. As I've said before, you may take 1 resource token of your choice when you have eliminated all enemy units in a location. You don't have to spend any action points to play resource tokens. You may use medkits to revive another injured player in the same location. Ammo boxes allow you to re-roll 1 attack die during your attack phase. The medic may also use the ammo box as a medkit. If a player earns a full set of 5 respect tokens, the game ends immediately and the players are victorious. The game also ends if the players are defeated. Players are defeated if you uncover the number 1 in the last chance section, or if there are no other empty location tiles to flip over except for Bukit Chandu, or if there are no more Regiment soldier tokens to remove from the trackboard, or if all players are injured.